The camera shakes as a massive 18-wheeler screeches to a halt on a lonely desert highway. Dust swirls in the golden light of sunset. In the distance, the echo of roaring bikes grows louder, 4, maybe 5 of them, tearing down the asphalt like wolves chasing prey. A man steps out of the truck, tall, quiet, his face shadowed beneath a faded cap. His eyes, calm but burning with something deep, pain, control, discipline. He glances at the bikers closing in and mutters just 3 words, "Not today, boys." Viewers don't yet know who he is, but his stance says everything. This isn't an ordinary truck driver. The music swells. The voiceover kicks in. Once, he was trained to fight wars. Now, he just fights to make ends meet. But when the past comes roaring back in the form of trouble, even a man who's walked away from battle can't stay silent forever. The screen cuts to black, title fades in. Truck driver takes down cheeky bikers with his special forces skills. Jake Miller wasn't supposed to be here, not on this dusty road, not behind the wheel of a truck that's seen better days, and definitely not running from his past. Once, he was a decorated member of an elite special forces unit, known for his calm under fire and his unbreakable will. But one mission went wrong, an explosion, a mistake, and a decision that cost him his best friend's life. When Jake came home, he couldn't stand the sound of gunfire anymore. He traded his rifle for a steering wheel and disappeared into the open road. He found peace in the rhythm of the highway, the hum of the engine, the endless horizon, the quiet loneliness that didn't judge him. Every night, he'd stop at small-town diners, sip coffee, and sketch routes on napkins. People saw just another truck driver. But beneath that calm exterior, Jake was still haunted by the screams, the sand, and the one promise he never kept: "I'll get you home, brother." One hot afternoon, Jake's journey took him through the Nevada desert. His cargo, medical supplies for a small hospital 2 states away. It was supposed to be a quiet trip. But fate doesn't ask for permission. Out of nowhere, the silence was shattered by the high-pitched roar of motorcycles. In his side mirror, Jake saw them, a gang of 5 bikers, leather jackets, tattoos, roaring engines, weaving dangerously close to his truck. They weren't just passing by, they were playing games, swerving near his tires, mocking him through the windows. Jake stayed calm, kept both hands on the wheel. He dealt with worse than a few road punks. But when one biker smashed a bottle against his door, laughing, something inside him stirred, not anger, but a warning. He pulled over to the shoulder, set the brakes, and climbed out. The leader, a tall, loud kid with mirrored shades and a sneer, revved his engine and shouted, "Old man. This road's ours. You pay to pass or we make you dance." Jake's eyes didn't blink. "Kid, you don't want to do this," he said quietly. The bikers laughed, circling him like hyenas. Then one reached for Jake's door, trying to open the truck. That's when Jake moved. He didn't throw a punch, not yet. He simply shifted his stance, the way soldiers do when the situation turns. The leader noticed it. His laughter died. "What are you, some kind of ex-cop?" Jake just smiled faintly. "Something like that." The first biker lunged, a mistake. Jake sidestepped, caught his wrist, twisted, and in one motion had him on the ground gasping for air. Another charged, Jake pivoted, used his momentum, and the biker went flying into the dirt. The remaining 3 froze. This wasn't supposed to happen. The quiet trucker had just dismantled 2 men in less than 10 seconds. Jake's voice was calm, steady, "Walk away. You've still got a choice. But pride's a dangerous thing." The leader spat in the dust. "You'll regret that, old man. You'll see us again." Jake didn't reply. He climbed back into his truck and drove off. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, he couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over. That night, at a roadside motel, Jake stared at the old photo of his unit, 5 men smiling, arms around each other. One face was missing now. He sighed, whispering, "I'm still trying, brother. Still trying." Outside, far down the road, the sound of motorcycles returned. By dawn, Jake was back on the highway, the desert stretching endlessly ahead. The radio crackled with static, and a storm was brewing, not just in the sky, but behind him. The bikers had found him again. This time, they weren't playing. They surrounded the truck, banging on the sides, shouting, laughing. One biker climbed onto the trailer, trying to cut the tarp. Jake knew he couldn't outrun them, not with his load. But he also knew one thing better than anyone: control the battlefield. He guided the truck off the road into an abandoned service area, open ground, perfect visibility. Then he stopped the engine, stepped out slowly, and faced them head-on. His movements were deliberate, almost calm. The bikers thought he was surrendering. They didn't see the quiet calculation in his eyes. "Last chance," Jake said. "Turn around. Go home." The leader smirked. "You think you scare us?" Jake didn't answer. He took a step forward, and that's when the leader swung his chain. Jake caught it midair, yanked it free, and in 3 sharp motions took down 2 bikers with surgical precision. The third tried to grab him from behind. Jake dropped low, spun, and swept his legs. Years of training flowed back like muscle memory. It wasn't rage, it was controlled, disciplined survival. Within minutes, the dust settled. The bikers were on the ground, groaning, shocked into silence. Jake stood there, breathing steadily. The leader, beaten but defiant, glared at him. "Who the hell are you?" Jake looked him straight in the eye, just a man who's tired of fighting, but not afraid to finish what others start. He tossed the chain aside and turned to leave. But before he climbed into his truck, he knelt beside the leader and said, "You think strength is about scaring people? It's not. It's about protecting what matters, even when no one's watching." Then he drove off, the storm breaking behind him, lightning splitting the sky. The camera pans to the horizon, the massive truck rolling steadily through the rain, headlights cutting through the darkness, voiceover fades and sometimes heroes don't wear uniforms anymore. They drive trucks, fix engines, and carry the weight of their past in silence. But when the road tests them, they remember who they are. As the credits roll, viewers see Jake pulling into the hospital, unloading the medical supplies, a quiet act of service that no one will ever know about. But that's who he is, a man who doesn't fight for glory anymore. He fights for peace. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's choosing to stand your ground when the world thinks you've already fallen. Real strength lies not in the fight, but in knowing when to walk away.